Imagine this: by the time a woman reaches the age of 50, her bones are already starting to weaken, even if she feels perfectly healthy. In fact, research shows that nearly 1 in 2 women over 50 will break a bone due to osteoporosis in her lifetime. That's not just a statistic, it's a silent epidemic. And yet, many women don't even realize their bones are becoming fragile until it's too late. But here's the part most people miss. Osteoporosis doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process, often invisible in the early stages, and driven by factors that are, in many cases, within our control. One of the most powerful tools we have to protect our bones isn't found in a pill bottle. It's found in the food on our plate. What you eat every day has a direct impact on your bone density, your risk of fractures, and your overall ability to stay active and independent as you age. And according to leading researchers at Harvard and other top medical institutions, there are certain foods that offer especially powerful support for bone health, foods that every woman over 50 should seriously consider adding to her routine. Some of these might surprise you. They're not just about calcium or dairy. In fact, some of the best foods for your bones are fruits, vegetables, and even certain canned foods you might have overlooked. These aren't trendy superfoods. They're affordable, accessible, and backed by real science. So if you're a woman over 50, or you love someone who is, this is for you. Let's walk through the top 5 most recommended foods for bone health, straight from the experts. Along the way, you'll also learn how these foods help protect your bones, the best ways to eat them, and a few things you'll want to avoid that could be weakening your bones without you realizing it. Let's start with one of the most debated bone boosters of all, milk and its powerful plant-based cousins, dairy and fortified plant milks. Milk has long been advertised as the go-to source for strong bones, and for good reason. It's naturally high in calcium, the key mineral that gives bones their strength and structure. But here's what many women don't realize: after the age of 50, your calcium needs jump significantly. Experts recommend that women over 50 get at least 200 milligrams of calcium per day. Yet studies show that most women fall far short of this goal. But it's not just about piling on more calcium. Your body also needs vitamin D to actually absorb that calcium and move it into your bones. Without enough vitamin D, your calcium-rich foods might not be doing much at all. That's why dairy foods like milk, yogurt, and cheese remain some of the most reliable sources of both calcium and vitamin D. Just 1 cup of milk gives you about 300 milligrams of calcium, and many brands are fortified with vitamin D for better absorption. Yogurt can provide even more, depending on the type. And the bonus: these dairy options also give you protein and phosphorus, which work alongside calcium to keep bones solid and resilient. But what if you're lactose intolerant, vegan, or simply not a fan of dairy? Here's the good news. Many plant-based alternatives now provide the same bone-building benefits. Fortified almond milk, soy milk, oat milk, and rice milk are often enriched with calcium and vitamin D, bringing their nutrient levels up to par with cow's milk. Just be sure to check the label. Some brands are fortified, and others aren't. One key thing to remember: calcium supplements aren't always the answer. Taking calcium in pill form, especially in large doses, has been linked to kidney stones and other complications in some women. That's why getting your calcium from real food is not only more effective, but also safer and more balanced. So how can you fit these into your daily routine? Start your morning with a smoothie made from Greek yogurt or fortified almond milk. Add a splash of plant milk to your coffee or tea. Snack on a slice of cheese or a cup of yogurt with fruit. These small additions can add up fast, and they help lay a foundation for stronger bones with every bite. Coming up next, we'll talk about a food that packs a punch of calcium and vitamin D, and it comes in a can. Most people walk right past it in the grocery aisle. But for your bones, it might be a quiet hero. A hidden calcium powerhouse. If you've ever passed by canned salmon or sardines in the grocery store without a second thought, you might want to take a second look, especially if you're serious about protecting your bones. These humble canned fish are among the richest natural sources of calcium and vitamin D, the two critical nutrients for bone health. And the secret lies in the tiny, edible bones they contain. While it might sound odd, those soft, cooked bones are packed with calcium, and when you eat them, your bones benefit directly. A 3-ounce serving of canned salmon with bones contains around 180 to 240 milligrams of calcium, depending on the brand. Canned sardines. Even better, up to 325 milligrams of calcium per serving, along with about 250 international units IU of vitamin D. That's nearly a third of your daily calcium needs and a decent boost of vitamin D in one small can. And these nutrients don't work in isolation. Canned fish also delivers protein, phosphorus, and omega-3 fatty acids, which are all important for maintaining strong bones and reducing inflammation that can contribute to bone breakdown. But here's the part most people overlook. These foods are affordable, shelf-stable, and easy to prepare. No need for fancy recipes or cooking skills. You can flake canned salmon onto a salad, mash sardines onto whole-grain toast with avocado, or mix either one into a pasta dish for a quick, bone-strengthening meal. Plus, because the bones are so soft after pressure cooking, they're safe and barely noticeable in texture, especially when mixed into other foods. One tip: opt for canned fish that is packed in water or olive oil. And watch the sodium content if you're concerned about blood pressure. Some brands also offer low-sodium versions. It's a small change, but adding just 1 or 2 servings of canned salmon or sardines per week could help fortify your bones in a big way. And when you combine it with the calcium and vitamin D from dairy or plant-based alternatives, the benefits add up even faster. Next, we'll move from seafood to something sweet and surprisingly powerful. It's a fruit you might associate with digestive health, but studies show it could also help preserve bone density in women after menopause. Any guesses? More than a laxative. When most people think of prunes, they picture a natural remedy for constipation. But what they don't realize is that prunes may hold one of the most overlooked keys to bone health in postmenopausal women. Here's what the science says in a clinical study conducted by researchers at Pennsylvania State University. Women who ate just 5 to 6 prunes a day experienced significantly less bone loss in the hips and spine compared to those who didn't eat any. That's a small serving, roughly a handful. And yet the impact was measurable. So what makes prunes so powerful? First, they're rich in vitamin K, a nutrient that helps regulate calcium and supports proper bone mineralization. Prunes also contain boron, potassium, and magnesium-3 minerals that support bone density by helping to maintain a healthy acid-base balance in the body. This is important because a more acidic environment, often caused by high protein or low vegetable diets, can lead to calcium being pulled from the bones. But perhaps the most surprising benefit of prunes is their role in reducing oxidative stress and inflammation, two hidden drivers of bone breakdown. The antioxidants in prunes, including phenolic compounds, may help protect bone-forming cells and slow down the activity of bone-resorbing cells that weaken the skeleton over time. And unlike calcium supplements, prunes come with fiber, natural sugars, and no risk of kidney stones. So how can you work prunes into your day? Try them as a mid-morning snack with a handful of almonds. Add chopped prunes to oatmeal, or blend them into a smoothie for natural sweetness and a bone-building boost. You can even use them in baking. Prune puree works as a great substitute for butter or oil in muffins and cookies, making your treats a little healthier without sacrificing taste. There's no need to overdo it. 5 to 6 prunes a day is plenty to see benefits. And consistency matters more than quantity. This is especially important for women after menopause, when the drop in estrogen accelerates bone loss. Adding prunes into your daily routine is a simple, natural way to slow that process and strengthen your skeleton from the inside out. Next, let's turn to plant-based powerhouses like tofu, beans, and dark leafy greens. They're packed with minerals and protein, and they're surprisingly effective at protecting your bones, especially when used in the right combinations. Plant sources. Many people assume that bone health is all about dairy, but nature offers a whole plant-based arsenal for women who want strong, resilient bones. Foods like tofu, beans, nuts, and dark leafy greens deliver an impressive combination of calcium, magnesium, potassium, and plant-based protein, all of which work together to keep bones dense and fracture-resistant. Let's start with tofu, especially the kind that's set with calcium sulfate. Just 4 ounces of calcium-set tofu can contain up to 430 milligrams of calcium. That's more than a glass of milk. It's also a great source of plant protein, which is essential for maintaining muscle mass and supporting the collagen matrix that holds your bones together. Next up, beans, particularly white beans, navy beans, black beans, and chickpeas. While they're not as calcium-rich as tofu, they still provide a meaningful dose, about 80 to 130 milligrams per cup, and they're high in magnesium and potassium, which help buffer acids in the body and reduce calcium loss. And then there are nuts, especially almonds and walnuts. Almonds offer about 75 milligrams of calcium per ounce, while also contributing healthy fats and magnesium, which plays a critical role in converting vitamin D into its active form. Walnuts, rich in omega-3s, help reduce inflammation that can lead to bone degradation. But one of the true unsung heroes of bone health, dark leafy greens. Vegetables like kale, bok choy, mustard greens, turnip greens, and collard greens are high in well-absorbed calcium, especially compared to spinach, which is rich in oxalates that block calcium absorption. For example, 1 cup of cooked collard greens delivers nearly 270 milligrams of calcium. That's more than a cup of milk, and far easier for many people to digest. And these greens don't just offer calcium. They're rich in vitamin K, which is essential for bone metabolism, and magnesium, which supports the structure of bone crystals. A great way to combine these bone boosters: stir-fry calcium-set tofu with bok choy and a handful of cashews, or toss kale into your bean soup. Even a snack of trail mix with almonds, dried fruit, and pumpkin seeds can nudge your daily intake in the right direction. It's not about eating massive amounts of any one food. It's about building a pattern of nutrient-rich meals that work together to protect your bones. But food isn't the whole picture. In our final section, we'll explore how simple lifestyle shifts like weight-bearing exercise, sunlight, and reducing certain bone-sapping habits can make your dietary efforts even more effective and help you hold on to your strength for decades to come. Now that we've covered the top 5 foods every woman over 50 should be eating for strong bones, it's time to talk about the other half of the equation: how you live. Even with the perfect diet, your bones still need the right signals to stay strong. One of the most important signals: movement. Bones are living tissue. They respond to physical stress by getting stronger. That's why weight-bearing exercises like walking, dancing, hiking, or even gardening are crucial. These activities put gentle pressure on your bones, triggering them to rebuild and reinforce themselves. Add in resistance training, using light weights or resistance bands, and you engage your muscles, which in turn strengthen the bones they attach to. Just 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, can make a measurable difference. But here's what many people miss: spending time outside matters too. Sunlight helps your body produce vitamin D naturally, which supports calcium absorption. Even just 10-15 minutes of morning sun a few times a week can help, especially if you live in a colder climate where sun exposure is limited. Now, what about bone-depleting habits? Smoking and excessive alcohol use have both been shown to accelerate bone loss. Soda, especially colas with high phosphorus content, may also negatively affect calcium balance. And overly salty or processed foods can increase calcium excretion through the urine, further weakening bones over time. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect, but being mindful of these choices can help you get the most out of your bone-supporting diet. So, let's recap. Dairy and fortified plant milks offer a solid foundation of calcium and vitamin D. Canned salmon and sardines provide bone-building nutrients straight from the sea. Prunes can actually slow bone loss and reduce inflammation. Tofu, beans, nuts, and leafy greens are plant-based powerhouses. And movement, sunlight, and avoiding bone-robbing habits make your nutritional choices even more effective. If you're a woman over 50, or love someone who is, it's never too early or too late to start protecting your bones. You don't need a complete diet overhaul. You just need to start making consistent, informed choices that stack up over time. So here's your invitation. Take a look at your daily routine. Can you swap that second cup of coffee for a fortified almond milk smoothie? Can you add a walk to your afternoon? Could you try a handful of prunes or a serving of canned salmon once or twice a week? Your bones are counting on you, and every bite, every step, every decision matters. Share this with the women in your life. Talk to your mother, your sister, your friend. Because strong bones don't just support your body. They support your independence, your energy, and your freedom to keep living life on your terms.